My mom and sister threw a huge extended family kids party, 103 people on the guest list, balloons, bouncy castles, even pony rides. Only one child wasn't invited. My daughter. I didn't make a scene. I did this instead. 3 weeks later, my sister had to change towns. It didn't even cross my mind that we weren't invited. Not for 1 second. Not while I helped Lena frost the lemon muffins that morning. Not while I curled her hair and she told me, for the 3rd time that week, how excited she was to see Ava. Not even as we pulled into the parking lot and I saw the rainbow balloon arch and a bubble machine going rogue near the welcome sign. Not once. If anything, I felt a little guilty for not having done more this year. Normally, I'd be there setting up the tables and yelling at my sisters for forgetting the juice boxes again, but not this time. This time, we were just guests, and I was relieved, or so I thought. We walked up the familiar gravel path, Lena in her glitter sandals and a pink tutu she'd outgrown 2 inches ago, but absolutely had to wear. She was carrying a foil-covered tray of muffins like it was her ticket to joy. She'd even stuck a little paper label on top that said Lena's Lemon Stars. I had my purse, my keys, and that low-grade anxiety that comes from not knowing if someone's already cut the cake. The usual. There was a check-in table this year, new, fancy. A teenager I vaguely recognized was holding a clipboard, squinting against the sun like he was guarding access to a private yacht. "Names?" he asked. I gave him our first names, smiling. I assumed it was just for t-shirt sizes or a head count for the magician. He frowned, flipped a few pages, then looked back up. "You're not on the list." I laughed. "That's okay. I think we were just missed. I'm Joelle. This is Lena. We brought muffins." The kid glanced around. "Sorry. I was told to only let in people on the list." I blinked. "Seriously?" He nodded. He didn't look sorry at all. He looked like he wanted to disappear. Still, I smiled. "Okay, well, could you maybe check again? Last name's Hartman. We've literally never not come to this." He hesitated. "Yeah, I'm really not supposed to." From the corner of my eye, I saw someone walking toward us. I didn't need to look directly. I already knew that gait. Polished shoes on grass, tight-lipped expression, event t-shirt tucked in. My older sister, Brittany. Of course. She stopped next to the table and gave the teen a pat on the shoulder, like he'd done a good job blocking the trolls. Then she looked at me. "Joelle." "Brittany." I nodded at the tray. "We brought muffins." "You weren't invited." I waited. Nothing came after that. Just those 3 words. What?" "You weren't on the list," she said. "You weren't invited." I stared at her, waiting for the joke to land. For her to say I'd been pranked or whatever petty thing she was doing this time. Nothing. I let out a short breath. I assumed it was a mistake. We're always invited. We're family. She folded her arms. "You said you weren't involved this year." "Yes. I said I couldn't organize it. I never said we weren't coming." "Well," she shrugged. "I figured you'd understand." "Understand what? That we'd been erased?" Lena tugged on my hand. "Mom?" I turned to her. "It's okay, baby. We're just sorting something out." But my heart was already hammering. Behind Brittany, my mother appeared. She was wearing oversized sunglasses, which she only ever wore when she wanted to not be seen while being very seen. She didn't say anything. She just stood behind my sister like a security detail with pearls. "Joelle," Brittany said, "please don't make a scene." I actually laughed. "I'm not making a scene. I'm standing at a kid's party holding lemon muffins." "You're raising your voice." "I'm not. People are looking." Let them look, I wanted to say, but I didn't, because Lena was standing right there, and her glitter sandals were trembling. Then came the part that'll stay with me forever. Lena looked up at Brittany, hopeful. Can I go in, though? Please? Ava said there's a rocket game. Brittany crouched to her level. No, sweetie. Not today. It's not your fault. It's your mom's. I froze. Just for a second. Then I leaned down, gently took Lena's tray, and turned around. We walked back to the car in silence. Behind us, someone turned up the music. A bubble popped against the back of my arm. Lena didn't say anything until we were halfway home. Then quietly she said, "You ruined it." I didn't answer, because I didn't trust myself to speak. My hands were shaking on the steering wheel. My chest felt tight. I was somewhere between burning up and freezing cold. It wasn't just the humiliation, it was the not knowing. The way they all acted like it was obvious. Like I'd done something so unspeakable that uninviting me and my daughter was somehow acceptable. When we got home, Lena went to her room and shut the door. I sat on the edge of the kitchen chair, still holding the muffins. The little paper label she'd written in crayon was smudged now. I don't know how long I sat like that. Eventually, I reached for my phone, maybe just to distract myself. That's when I noticed one of the old family group chats lighting up. It must have been a side thread from a past event, reused, renamed, and no one had remembered to take me out. At the top was a photo, taken from across the lawn, but close enough to see everything. Me at the gate. Lena beside me, still holding the cake tin. Brittany standing in front of us, arms crossed, and just underneath, a comment. I don't believe she had the audacity to turn up. That's when the air left the room. I still didn't know what I was being blamed for. Not yet, but I would. And when I did something they never saw coming. Some people are bad at budgeting. Some people can't resist carbs. Me? I can't say no. I've said yes to things that made me cry. I've said sure while internally screaming. I've said, of course, while fantasizing about running away and changing my name. It's not even that people expect me to step up. It's that they know I will. My mother knows. My sisters know. Even my 9-year-old has started to catch on. I'm not proud of it, but there it is. I once stood in front of a mirror, practiced saying no like it was a foreign language, then drove to my mother's house and agreed to organize a 60-person brunch for my aunt's 3rd wedding. I was 9 weeks pregnant. The only thing I should have been organizing was a nap schedule and ginger ale rotation. Instead, I was negotiating centerpieces with my mom while discreetly vomiting into a reusable grocery bag. She barely looked up. Joelle, can you just take care of the seating chart? Brittany's too busy with the cafe and Rachel doesn't do well with Excel. Classic. I'm the middle sister. Brittany is older, polished, commanding. The kind of person who speaks in bullet points. She runs a cafe in town. Not a cozy kind, but the sort that has overpriced foam art and oat milk policy signs. She's always being praised for being put together, but that's mostly because she's always surrounded by people like me doing the dirty work. Rachel is younger, emotionally soft. The baby. She cries easily, panics when plans change, and generally floats through life waiting for someone to solve things. That someone has always been me. Then there's my mom, Donna. Vintage pearls, critical tone, suspiciously good at ignoring things that don't match her version of events. She favors Brittany so blatantly it could be used as a teaching aid in a psychology course. Brittany can do no wrong, even when she's actively doing wrong. Rachel gets babied. And me? I'm useful. That's not bitterness. That's logistics. Growing up, I was the one who got things done. If Brittany forgot to prep her science project, I stayed up with her until midnight building it. If Rachel lost her costume the night before the school play, I turned a paper bag into a vest and wrote her lines on my hand so she wouldn't forget them. If Mom needed help prepping Christmas dinner, I was mashing potatoes before I had boobs. It wasn't framed as Joelle does more. It was just expected. Even now, when I look back, I don't remember many moments of feeling seen. I remember feeling useful, and somehow, over time, I let that become the same thing. When I got married, nothing really changed. My husband's lovely, but even he sometimes slides into the, well, Joelle will figure it out mode, especially when it comes to extended family. And then came Lena, my daughter, my whole heart. I thought having her would reset things, that maybe people would see me differently, softer, deserving of rest. But instead, I just became the mom who does it all, because people figured, hey, she already knows how to juggle. Even Lena started picking up on it. At 7, she was already saying things like, Mom, you always do the cupcakes, and you're the best at the decorations, and Dad never knows where anything is anyway. It hit me one day, in the middle of making 3 separate lasagnas for 3 separate potlucks, that I was raising a daughter who saw me as a convenience. And not because she was selfish, because that's how I'd trained her. That's how I'd trained everyone. The breaking point came earlier this year. We were planning a milestone birthday party for a cousin. Something big. Balloons. A band. Gift bags for kids who weren't even born yet. And of course, I was heading it up. I said yes before I'd even checked my calendar. Brittany said she was swamped with the cafe. Rachel said she'd help where she could. I said I'd take care of it. 3 weeks into the planning, I was rushing down the stairs with a tray of printed menus and my laptop under one arm when I slipped. Brittany was at the bottom of the staircase. She saw it happen. She didn't even flinch. I hit the landing hard, broke my leg in 2 places, ended up in a cast with doctor's orders to slow down for at least 3 months. I told my family in our group chat. The responses? Will the venue still have the final guest count? Do you want me to take over the playlist? Are you sure it's broken? Not one, how are you? Not even from Mom. I started physical therapy, fell behind at work, and for the first time in my life, started saying things like, I need to rest, and I can't do that right now. It felt alien, like I was impersonating someone braver. By the time the annual cousin carnival rolled around, I was barely caught up at work. My leg was healing, but not fully, and my therapist said, gently but firmly, you need to stop treating rest like a reward. It's not something you earn. So I said no. For the first time, I told my family, I can't help with the carnival this year. I need to focus on recovery and work. I didn't even say I wasn't coming. I just said I couldn't run it. Brittany was livid. She didn't say it outright, but she made her feelings known. Through group messages dripping in passive aggression and snide comments about how some people can't be counted on anymore. Mom chimed in with things like, we all have to make sacrifices, and I just hope you're not making excuses. Meanwhile, Rachel stayed quiet. And Dad? I don't think he ever read the thread. And yet, I still assumed we were invited. Because despite everything, I figured they were just mad. Petty, maybe passive-aggressive, but not cruel. I thought we'd show up, Lena in her glitter sandals and me with a plate of lemon muffins, and maybe I'd get some cold looks. But we'd still be there. I didn't realize that saying no, just once, would cost me everything. But I was about to find out. And after that, I'd do something none of them saw coming. I didn't sleep that night. Not because I was angry, not even because Lena was still crying off and on in her room, asking questions I couldn't answer. It was because I didn't understand, and I've always been someone who could take a lot, as long as I understood why. That night, all I could hear was my mom saying, "You know why," and my sister blocking the doorway with a smile like she was doing me a favor. Except I didn't know why. Not really. So the next morning, I made coffee with shaking hands and opened the school directory. I typed in one name, Emily Carrington, one of the other moms. Her kids were at the party. She was nice. We'd exchanged cookies and emergency socks. I didn't overthink it. I just called. She picked up on the second ring. Joelle? Her voice already told me everything. You heard? I asked. A long pause. Then, are you okay? No, I said. Emily, I need you to tell me what people are saying. Please. I'm not going to yell, I need to know. She hesitated, but not for long. Okay, she said. Well, Brittany told everyone you were supposed to organize the party this year, that you confirmed everything months ago. Venue, caterers, Levitt. What? And then you just disappeared. I was silent. She said you stopped answering texts, that you were overwhelmed and not doing well, that you pulled out last minute and didn't tell anyone. That's a lie, I said, flat. I figured it might be, she said quickly. But that's what people were told, that you bailed the week before, that your leg wasn't really that bad anymore, and that you might have taken the money. I blinked hard. What money? She said she gave you the funds to cover the deposit and that you never paid the venue. People were scrambling to fix it last minute. I couldn't even speak. I felt like I'd been slapped. Emily, I told them I couldn't organize it this year. I said it a month in advance. I have a doctor's note. I was barely off crutches. I believe you, she said. Honestly, the way Brittany told it, it always felt off. But she said it so calmly, like she was worried about you. Of course she did. Lie better. Smile bigger. I ended the call politely, said thank you, hung up. Then just sat there for a full minute, staring at my reflection in the microwave door. And then I called Brittany. She picked up immediately. Hey, Joelle! Her voice was syrupy, the same tone she used when she needed me to volunteer for something last minute. I didn't waste time. You told people I was supposed to organize the party? A beat of silence. Then, what are you talking about? Emily told me. You said I bailed, that I took money, that I ghosted you. Another pause. Joelle, people misunderstood. I never said you bailed. Then what did you say? That you had a lot going on, that you weren't in a place to handle it. I told you I couldn't do it. I said it clearly, a month in advance. You've never said no before, she snapped, suddenly sharp. There it was. You assumed I'd show up anyway? I said. Well, yeah, she said, like it was obvious. I thought you were just stressed. You always pull through. I didn't think you were actually quitting. I didn't quit, I said. I set a boundary, and you threw me under the bus. That's not fair, she said. I was under pressure. Everything was falling apart, and you just walked away. I had a broken leg, Brittany. You were walking just fine. I actually laughed. You do realize physical therapy isn't magic, right? It doesn't mean I can run a 100-person carnival. I'm sorry if I hurt your feelings. This isn't about feelings. You told people I stole money. I never used that word, she snapped. You implied it. You let them think it. And you made my daughter feel like trash in front of 100 people. She didn't say anything. Did Mom know? She was trying to protect you. No. She was protecting you, like always. Another silence, and then she said it. You're blowing this way out of proportion. You've always taken things so personally. I was publicly excluded from a family tradition you destroyed, and you made me the scapegoat. She sighed. Can we just move on? I hung up. I sat on the couch for a long time after that, not crying, not shaking, just still. Because I wasn't confused anymore. She hadn't panicked and said something dumb. She hadn't miscommunicated. She made a choice. When she couldn't pull off the party on her own, she took my name and set it on fire. And everyone watched it burn, All those years I'd been the one running around behind the scenes, setting tables and fixing banners and smoothing every wrinkle. And the second I stopped, they turned on me. Not just Brittany, not just Mom, everyone. Because it was easier to believe the unreliable middle sister flaked than to accept that the golden child failed. That night, I pulled out an old accordion folder from the closet. Inside, receipts, email threads, guest lists from previous years, texts where I coordinated vendors, budget spreadsheets in my name, the file from my doctor confirming my leg fracture, a screenshot of the message I sent the family group chat telling them I couldn't run this year's party. I hadn't kept these things out of spite. I kept them because I'm the kind of person who builds binders for birthday parties. And for once, I was glad I did. I put everything in a new folder, created a backup on a flash drive, printed things out, stacked it all neatly. I didn't know what I was going to do yet, but I knew this. I was done being the default. I was done letting people rewrite the story just because I wasn't loud enough to stop them, and I was about to do something they never saw coming. I didn't write anything emotional, no dramatic subject line, no long monologue about betrayal or forgiveness or how hurt I was. I just put the facts down in an email. Short, cold, bullet point clear. The subject line was, "Clarifying Misunderstandings, Joelle Simmons." I attached screenshots of the group chat where I said clearly that I couldn't organize the party this year, a PDF of the doctor's note about my fractured leg, the recovery timeline, and my physical therapy schedule. Receipts showing I had already transferred my financial contribution to Brittany a full 5 weeks in advance. Photos of past planning documents with my name as the only contact listed for every vendor year after year. A time-stamped screenshot of her message saying she'd get back to me with venue info, which she never did. I CC'd it to the extended family list, over 100 people, including several parents from Lena's school, a few teachers, and of course Brittany and my mother. Then I hit send, then I shut my laptop, then I waited. It took less than 15 minutes. The first response was from our cousin David. "Jesus Christ." The second was a text. I had no idea. "I'm so sorry, Joelle." I believed her. "I'm embarrassed." Then a parent from Lena's school messaged me. "We'd love to have Lena over for a play date. My kids were really upset when they heard what happened." And then, it just kept going. People had questions. People wanted to know how Brittany thought she'd get away with this. How long had she been doing this kind of thing? Was this just a one-time panic move, or had she always been this calculating? A few even started talking about her on the town parent forum, not anonymously, by name. Joelle didn't deserve what happened at that party. Her daughter didn't deserve it either. I don't know how you come back from that. And that's when the cafe started emptying out. It didn't happen all at once. No boycott, no picketing, just silence. No foot traffic, no moms with strollers, no teacher book club meetups on Friday afternoons, no Instagram stories tagging their signature cinnamon croissants. And Brittany noticed. Fast. By week 2, she had taken down the "now hiring" sign. By week 3, she stopped posting to social media. By week 4, I heard from a neighbor that she was trying to sublease the space. Mom didn't call until the end of week 5. I let it go to voicemail the first time. She left a message that started like she was checking in. "Hi, honey. Just wanted to see how you were doing," and ended with, "It's really gone too far. You need to fix this before your sister loses everything." I didn't call back, so she showed up. It was a Thursday afternoon. I was folding laundry and listening to a podcast about salamanders because that's what it takes to not think about your mother showing up on your doorstep uninvited. Lena was still at school. The knock came like it always did. 3 fast taps, then 1 long pause. I didn't need to look through the peephole. I knew. I opened the door and stepped outside, blocking the entryway. Mom looked tired, but not sorry. "She's moving," she said, without a hello. "She's closing the cafe. She says she can't stay here anymore." I said nothing. "She's your sister." Still nothing. "She made a mistake, Joelle. We all have. But what you did, you humiliated her." I raised an eyebrow. "What I did was tell the truth. You could have done it privately. You could have defended me, but you didn't. She needed help. So did I. I had a broken leg and a kid crying in my car while you both told me to leave." Her face twitched, just a little. "Brittany's not perfect. She lied, over and over, and you helped her do it." She looked away then, jaw clenched. For a second, I thought she might cry, but instead she pulled herself upright like she was the one with the moral high ground. "She's leaving town. Are you happy?" Happy? No, not even close. But I wasn't sad either. What I felt was done, like something heavy had finally been cut loose. She looked at me again, a little sharper. "You always had to make things difficult." I gave a dry smile. "No, Mom. I always made things easier. For you. You just didn't notice." She blinked. I stepped back, just enough to make it clear the conversation was over. "Tell Brittany I hope she finds peace somewhere, but I'm not fixing this." Then I closed the door, and this time, it felt good. Later that week, my husband asked if I wanted to help organize the fall neighborhood potluck. He said it like it was a casual question, like I hadn't spent the last decade buried in sign-up sheets and just one more things. I didn't hesitate. I looked up from my coffee, smiled, and said, "No." Just like that. No explanation, no apology, no nervous laugh. I didn't flinch. I didn't try to soften it with "maybe next time" or "I wish I could." Just, no. And the world didn't end. The sky didn't fall. He blinked, nodded, and said, "Fair." I think that was the moment I realized I'm not scared of being the bad guy anymore. Not if the only alternative is being invisible. It's been a year. I don't talk to my parents much anymore. My dad checks in every now and then. My mom, not so much. They moved a few months back to be closer to Brittany and her kids. Make of that what you will. What surprised me was my younger sister, Rachel. She showed up one afternoon with coffee and said, "I've been thinking. I followed their lead too much. I shouldn't have." That was it. No big speech. Just honest. And we've been closer ever since. As for me, I still organize the occasional fundraiser or birthday picnic, but only when I want to. And now, when I say no, people take it seriously. Turns out, respecting yourself teaches other people how to treat you. Life's quieter now. Better. But you tell me, did I do the right thing, or did I go too far? Let me know in the comments. And if you want more stories like this, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell.